in the brain, that's in the gut.
So what you're saying is that we've been told all sorts of things to explain different feelings we have in our tummies. Like we've been told about hunger. We've been told to associate this feeling with hunger. We've been taught to associate this feeling with hunger. We've been taught to associate this feeling with stomach flu. We've been taught to associate this feeling with
a whole host of things. Some of them I can't remember anymore because I'm done thinking about it. Or, rolling that, am I hungry? Oh, am I bored? Bouncing this ping pong ball. And really just like because it's so temporary, isn't it? The sensation.
I don't even really think I feel hungry. If I smell something that, that the smell makes me feel like, I'd like to eat that, but I don't really feel like, oh, I'm really hungry. I think I've just maybe that's gone from me now. Mm-hmm. The smell triggers me to want to eat. When I see it, I think it's more the smell. I don't really think it's as much visually.
The last time I bought a pizza, because I call it Mucus Mondays. You can have one day a week. You can be, indulge in the mucus.
Yes, I think so. We need that.
You need, yeah. And it was interesting the last time, and this is a couple of weeks ago, that the boys are just like, it looks the same, it smells the same, but it doesn't taste the same. They're shifting in their experience of, oh, pizza's so good. And then they're not having that same old relationship of what they perceived it to, it's pizza. And they're like, it doesn't taste the same. It looks the same, but, that's where the looks and our habits, shift, they change.
You've got a good interaction and communication with your kids, with your family about the healing process, about the true healing process.
That vocabulary called eat. And I asked them what they want to taste.
Like it's a choice.
Yeah, totally. And then it also engages a new experience. Oh, what am I tasting now? Is it more sweet? Is it more savory? More experience. And more pleasurable, I think, versus just eating and not thinking, because it is a thinking process. If you change the behaviors of your thinking.
And we've been told that we need to eat, and by telling your children this, that it's like you're choosing to engage in tasting today. It's not something that you have to do. You can indulge in tasting today if you like, or you can indulge in tasting right now if you like, or what would you like to taste right now?
Mm-hmm. And it's taken a while for them to dialogue this personally for each individual boy. But even with myself, I can just by changing. Come to the table and eat something. Come to the table and taste something.
How many kids do you have? How many boys?
3 boys.
3 boys. And you were saying that epiphany was that it's really not hunger. It's really not stomach flu. It's, all of the things that you're associating with a feeling inside of your tummy that you feel like you need to eat. It's really potentially that it's a chakra. It's the solar plexus chakra that's maybe coming online or changing its energy, or starting up, or wakening up, or slowing down, or shutting down. And these things are just normal feelings that are associated with the chakra changing its energy.
The frequency.
And we're associating it with hunger. Oh, that's hunger, or that gurgling, that means I'm hungry, or
Whereas, Rama shared this, when I met him the second time, that this sensation we feel below the belly button is more hunger because the bowels are empty. But anything above the belly button is associated with more of a thirst. And often we'll eat something before we satisfy our thirst.
so a lot of the time we're dehydrated and we're eating just because we're actually dehydrated. And if we actually hydrated ourselves, we'd probably be fine.
Yeah. Because the boys, forage in the kitchen. I'm like, are you really thirsty? Engage with your body. Are you thirsty? Are you really hungry? And then they, take a glass of water and they're like, yeah, I was really just thirsty. And just have them develop this questioning of what they're experiencing for themselves, which, get to know thyself, right? And who does it better except ourselves?
That's super that you're already getting that sort of relationship with your boys. I mean, I have that relationship with my youngest son. I don't have it so much with my older two daughters. I think because they were a little bit older when I got into this.
Sure.
And then also I think too, the difference in space between where I am and where my wife is, they are more connected with their mother. I think because of the age that they're at, they're just not as connected with dad. And so they're more connected with mom, and mom kind of coming my way a little bit more now, slowly, but was more resistant along the way. And I think that resistance let my kids, my older daughters, be a little bit more resistant to the ideas as well too. So
yeah, I see that with my older son, but at the same time he sees the changes or in myself that he observes, and that observation he sees questions his belief system that it's all bad. I'm like, but I see these changes in my mother. And, what was it, a couple of weeks ago, he had, an issue and concern. He's like, do I put pee on it? And I said, shortest shortcut to healing. He was something on his, body, and he wanted to know if he could put this cream on it or that cream. And I said, you could. And he's like, pee would be the better result. And I said, try it. You have the other products or things to back up if that doesn't work, if you think it doesn't work. But if you choose to think it will work, it will. Because water holds memory. This is what Dr. Emoto talked about for 40 years in his research. And my conversation with him, just one question to confirm what he told me or I heard him say. And that is his belief of, if you want to call it God or Messiah, or however you choose to label something, but his belief as a Buddhist that God was water. And, in my closet, I was thinking, I know urine's 95% water. Is he talking about the same water that's, he's talking about water outside the body, but the water within. So I asked him, is that water that's within our body the same kind of conversation of what you said at the end of your conversation, your lecture? He felt that water was God, or what God is water, and why water is so misunderstood, not researched by any other people or other corporations.
okay, so those are some really, really super things that you said there. I want to flip back and talk about three of them.
Sure.
You talked about telling your son to put pee on his whatever ailment that he had on his skin. One, I love it that you have that type of relationship that you could say that to your kids. I mean, again, with my youngest son, I can say that and do that. With my two older daughters, I can't really say that. I can say the other day, we were all sitting and I can't remember what it was, some sort of ailment again, something like that. And I said, or someone was sick or someone was having some sort of sickness symptoms, like they were having a sore throat. And I said, well, we know what the solution is. That's all I said. And one of my daughters said, well, that's not an option for a solution. So, they're not considering that. They're 14 and 15-year-old girls. Like that's just gross, Dad. That's just gross, Dad. So, I don't say it, but I can say that and it can be understood, and they'll be like, oh, that's so sick, or, but that's the extent of it. We can't really have a communication. They can't think it out and go, whereas finally I am starting to get with my wife, but she wouldn't say that to my daughters yet.
Sure. She's got to test out the waters
herself. So until she gets to the point where she goes, you know what? I think you might be right onto something there.
Well, what happened to Bo is he probably he was out with some friends and he broke through the ice because they were playing on the ice. And his shoes got wet. So he came home and his feet were a bit cold. And I said, let's just put your feet in your urine and
warm them up.
Warm them up.
They can just.
And that sensation of frostbite or, frozen toes, because he described all of his toes were frozen. And I said, well, let's warm them up with your fresh urine.
Wonderful.
He did it.
A little fresh urine foot bath, which is so great for detoxifying the body. But you know what? I think what's a real big one there is that one, we're talking about having these types of conversations with our children. So in engaging that in our family dialogue, where we're starting to educate and change the paradigms that they've been brought up with and that they hear all around them, and make it comfortable to talk about pee as an alternative. And that's wonderful and important, and it needs to happen. And we don't create change until people start doing things like that with kids, right? It's
a new door. I mean, new opportunities, and they learn from their own experience, in which that just trims down that social conditioning that we've all been inundated with. And
that this is bad, or this is crazy, or this is not right, or this is dirty, and all of that's not true.
All of that.
No, that's not true. And, let me just also add here, everyone is in their own place. Everyone is free to choose. That's what makes us most human, is that we have a choice. And, some souls are ready to awaken in this lifetime. And some souls are not. And we can't change that.
No.
And it's their choice, right? They can awaken in this lifetime, or they cannot, and they can choose to or not. And sometimes it takes 10 or 10,000 lives before a soul is ready, that's gotten enough knowledge and got enough awareness that it's ready to awaken. And I can't change that.
Right. Neither can I. I mean,
nobody can.
Just got to be curious versus, blocking it. Oh, no. Just the curiosity will lead you if you're curious.
If you want to be curious, and if you want to learn, and if you want to open up the possibility that there could be a different outcome or a different life or a different circumstance available to you if you wanted to explore that. But some people just don't want to explore it, and they just want to say no, and that's bad, and I'm not open to it. And you know what? To them, they have the right to be there as well too. My issue with them, those that are not ready to awaken, is just that they slam or they attack.
Yeah.
You know, and that would be my issue with people for choosing to call it dirty or to call it wrong or
waste.
Because they haven't tried it.
Not having, you know, that doesn't give them any experience and the choices.
And then the other part of that is, you know, you haven't tried it, but then also, even if you do try it, but you've got like the mindset that you do have, if you hold that mindset when you engage in anything, the mind is a very powerful thing. So if you've got the wrong mindset while you engage in anything, you're blocking yourself with your mindset. So you have to maintain, like you said, that curious, open possibility type of mindset.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a game changer when you put down your guards, put down, you know, our systematic social conditioning.
and that's just like being a child. And they say we got to learn from our children. We got to learn from young children. We got to be a child. We have to be playful like a child and just curious and open and with wonder and awe, like everything is a possibility, right?
Yeah, definitely. You know, he wasn't excited about doing a foot bath with urine, but you know, because instead of water, you know, warm water, I said, this will absorb into your tissues and calm down the nerve endings, and your blue toes will turn back to pink. And next time, don't walk on the ice. I hope you learned all that now.
Okay, so now doubling back, you also talked about God is water. I just want to go on to that one a little bit. And I want to ask you a question. God is water, or is air water? Air God?